Hello aspirants, and welcome to this Rungta IAS Academy Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really crucial international relations topic for your General Studies Paper 2, the shifting sands of global hegemony. Namaste everyone, we are going to be analyzing the very complex superpower truce between the United States and China, and more importantly, what it means for us here in India. Let's get right into it.
So just a quick look at our roadmap today. We're covering four main areas: the context of the Beijing summit, the friction points between trade and Taiwan, the IR dynamics surrounding the Thucydides Trap, and finally, India's strategic autonomy.
Okay, starting off with Section 1, the context of the Beijing summit.
Grounding our analysis in recent editorials, the absolute key takeaway from this summit is that both of these massive powers essentially reached a temporary truce.
Exactly. There were absolutely no major breakthroughs here. The focus was really just on injecting some much-needed stability into what has been a super volatile relationship lately.
Now, I want you to pay close attention to the terminology used here. President Xi explicitly called for a constructive relationship of strategic stability. Aspirants, you really want to memorize this exact phrase. Dropping this verbatim into your mains answers, that's a high-value keyword that will definitely catch the examiner's eye. Moving right along to Section 2, friction points. Trade versus Taiwan. You see, despite this temporary truce, their priorities completely clashed. President Xi made it very clear that Taiwan is the most critical issue, one that genuinely risks outright conflict, especially while U.S. arms sales continue. But for President Trump, the metrics were purely economic. He was laser-focused on selling American goods and getting access to rare earths. It's essentially a classic case of geopolitics clashing directly with geoeconomics. Now, we did see some tactical U.S. trade concessions out of this. Think of the 3 Bs. That's Boeing aircraft, beef, and soybean purchases by Beijing. Plus, 10 Chinese firms are actually allowed to resume buying Nvidia chips, and there's talk of setting up bilateral boards for trade and investment. But listen, don't be fooled. These are just temporary pauses in the tension. They are not long-term resolutions.
All right, on to Section 3, IR dynamics and the Thucydides Trap. This summit really laid bare the shifting structural dynamics of the world right now. The U.S.'s ability to just command global influence is hitting its limits, particularly in a post-Iran war context.
And at the exact same time, China is absolutely no longer hiding its global ambitions. So what we're looking at here is a textbook structural shift in global hegemony.
And that brings us directly to the Thucydides Trap. If you're not familiar, this is the theory of an inevitable conflict happening when a rising power challenges an established power.
It's fascinating because President Xi literally asked President Trump if they could avoid this very trap. So, this isn't just some dry academic theory for your textbooks. It is actively dictating their real-world diplomacy today.
Finally, Section 4, the way forward and India's autonomy.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, this superpower rivalry throws two massive diplomatic tests India's way. First, standing up to increasing U.S. pressure. And second, managing an increasingly confident and assertive China right on our borders. It is a total tightrope walk. We literally cannot afford to capitulate to the established power, but we also can't just ignore the rising one.
So the definitive path forward here is fiercely reinforcing India's strategic autonomy. We're not diluting it, we're strengthening it. Absolutely. That means making our decisions based purely on Indian national interests. We have to refuse to become a junior partner in anyone's alliance framework, no matter how much global pressure is applied.
So as you wrap up, we want to leave you with this thought to really chew on. How exactly must India navigate this massive US-China rivalry while still reinforcing its own strategic autonomy? Think deeply about that, because this is exactly the kind of nuance an interview board expects from you during your UPSC personality test. Thank you so much for joining this Rungta IAS Academy Explainer today. Keep studying hard, and Jai Hind.